shame on him. Absolutely shame on him, because that is the moment that you need to be there for your family. At a time when he should be there for his dad, right? His dad is suffering from very serious cancer. Right now, Piers Morgan, a close personal friend of Queen Camilla, has just revealed that no members of the royal family, including King Charles, will speak to Prince Harry or Meghan Markle at all. All contact has been cut. According to Piers, a royal insider who you'll also remember hangs out quite a bit with Beatrice and Eugenie, the princess daughters of Andrew. I want to take you through exactly what Piers told the US broadcaster, good friend of mine, Meghan Kelly, because he's also branded Meghan Markle a nasty little bully. You won't get any disagreement from me there. We're going to get analysis from the editor of the Royal News Network, Brittany, in just a moment. But Brittany, first, we've got to watch along together, because this is a bombshell after bombshell interview from Piers to Meghan.
On their website, it says that they're all about compassion. They're compassionate people. They're also all about mental health and helping people with mental health. They've been very vocal about that recently, about the perils of online trolling and the effect it has on people's mental health. And yet here we are with Vanity Fair, the Hollywood Bible, the thing that Meghan was most thrilled about getting the cover of a few years ago when she got engaged to Harry, which went down very badly with the palace at the time, I can tell you. But now it reveals that actually she in particular is a nasty little bully who sends staff into therapy. Think about that for a moment. This also follows all the stories about her bullying staff over here in the UK,
Many broken by me,
which is unresolved. NDAs stopped all that stuff coming out, but she bullied people in a very unpleasant way over here. So it's no surprise to people who work at Buckingham Palace. They saw and witnessed all this here. So I just showed, look, they're a pair of hypocrites, they're a pair of chancers, as the Spotify guy called them, a pair of effing grifters. And they're desperately trying to maintain some kind of future as a renegade royal couple when they're no longer part of the royal family. The royals don't talk to them. The king does not talk to his own son. None of the senior royals talk to these two.
Breaking royal news has sent shockwaves through Buckingham Palace, and it's all centered around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. According to fresh reports revealed by Piers Morgan, a longtime friend of Queen Camilla and one of Britain's most outspoken commentators, King Charles and the entire royal family have now cut off all contact with the Sussexes completely. Piers made the stunning claim during an explosive interview with American broadcaster Meghan Kelly, where he didn't hold back. He accused Meghan of being, in his words, a nasty little bully, and called both Harry and Meghan royal hypocrites, pointing out how their polished image of kindness and mental health advocacy doesn't match their behind-the-scenes behavior. He went on to reveal that Meghan's alleged treatment of palace staff was so harsh that some sought therapy, and that her repeated attacks on the monarchy have turned the couple into total outsiders. No one in the royal family speaks to them anymore, Piers said bluntly. Royal watchers say this is the lowest moment yet in Harry's relationship with his father, especially while King Charles is battling serious health concerns. Many insiders believe Queen Camilla has quietly advised the king to distance himself from the couple for the sake of his well-being. As royal expert Brittany noted, Harry and Meghan once thrived on their royal ties, but with those bonds broken, their influence and careers appear to be slipping fast. So, is this truly the end of the Sussexes' royal connection, or just another fiery chapter in their never-ending feud with the crown? Tell us what you think, and before you go, hit subscribe so you never miss a single royal bombshell.
At a time when he should be there for his dad, right? His dad is suffering from very serious cancer, Brittany. Again, all he does is create strife, to the fact that actually Camilla says to Charles, no, just have nothing to do with him because it's not going to be good for your health.
Yeah, I mean, that is really the healthiest approach for him at this point. Harry has had multiple opportunities, I think, to try and make inroads to recognize the failure of his ways. But what I came across, I think it was in the Vanity Fair piece, although it might have been maybe a Daily Beast piece that kind of followed that, was talking about how Harry still doesn't really get it. He doesn't understand the damage that Spare did to his relationship with his family, that Netflix did, that Mexic did, that Oprah did to his family. He still doesn't quite get it. And because of that, he can't even recognize his own faults in the situation. And of course, that has been Harry and Meghan's entire brand, is to blame everybody else when trouble follows them and not recognizing that usually about 9/10 of the time, they are the cause of their own problems and issues. It all comes back to them. And I think it's horrific given Charles's cancer, obviously Catherine going through her whole cancer treatments as well, that they really could have used Harry. They really could have used Harry in that moment. And he, of course, chose selfishness and greed, I would argue, over duty and family.
Shame on him. Absolutely shame on him, because that is the moment that you need to be there for your family.
They are total pariahs in the family because the only currency they have is trashing the royal family and the monarchy. And every time they try and do something else, nobody cares. No one cared about their podcast series. Nobody cared about the polo series recently. Nobody cared about any of it. All they want to hear is the dirt. And these two, for 5 years, have reveled and wallowed in royal dirt for vast amounts of money. And that's what makes Prince Harry's ongoing campaign against the UK newspapers, which had another flare-up this week, so laughably hypocritical.
During his explosive chat with American broadcaster Meghan Kelly, Piers didn't hold back. He openly called Meghan a nasty little bully, accusing her of mistreating palace staff during her time as a working royal. According to him, several employees were driven to therapy because of her behavior. He went on to describe both Harry and Meghan as total hypocrites, pointing out that while they talk endlessly about compassion and kindness, their actions behind closed doors told a very different story. He even suggested that the couple's constant attacks on the royal family, from interviews to documentaries to Meghan's now failed podcast, have finally pushed the monarchy to its breaking point. They've become total outcasts, Piers said. No one talks to them anymore. Royal experts are calling this the lowest point in Harry's relationship with his father, and with King Charles currently battling serious health concerns, many believe Queen Camilla herself advised the king to protect his peace and distance himself from any more drama. Royal commentator Brittany echoed the sentiment, explaining that Harry and Meghan's entire celebrity brand was built on their royal connection. Without that tie, their global influence and even their media power may begin to crumble. Insiders also say this isn't just about personal grudges, it's about trust. The royal family reportedly feels that every private moment shared with the Sussexes could end up in a documentary, a podcast, or a best-selling memoir. And for the palace, that's simply unforgivable. Still, public opinion is split. Some believe King Charles is right to draw a line and protect his legacy. Others think reconciliation might still be possible, but only if Harry and Meghan truly stop using their royal ties for profit. So what do you think? Is this truly the final break between Harry, Meghan, and the royal family, or just another explosive chapter in their ongoing feud with the monarchy?
Brittany, well, lots to pick up on there. I totally agree with Piers's analysis on the Meghan Kelly show. But the most critical thing, the most newsworthy thing for us to discuss is the fact that no senior member of the royal family will even speak to Harry or Meghan now. Now, of course, we knew that William had cut contact, and we knew that Charles would try and avoid phone conversations with Harry as much as possible. Angela Levin and Lady Colin Campbell had revealed that right here on Outspoken. However, remember, Piers is a royal insider, close friends with Queen Camilla, close friends with the princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, regularly socializes with both, and he says both Harry and Meghan now pariahs within the royal family, completely ignored. Maybe not a surprise, but very fascinating to hear.
It really is, Dan, because they used to all be so close in many ways, especially Harry with Beatrice and Eugenie. They were really had seems like a good friendship at one point, but no one is surprised by this because as time has gone on, as Megxit has gotten further away, they've had these mega deals, but the only thing that actually sells is their connection to the royals. So if you cut that off, Harry and Meghan really have to prove themselves on their own merits. And as it turns out, they can't do it. They don't have either the talent, the creativity, or whatever to come to bear in this situation and actually create decent content. And so if the royal family stars them of the only thing that's going to make them money, then I don't know what they're going to do, because trying to be royals here in the United States is not going over very well. So we don't want them to be royals here. They can live here, but they can't be royalty here. And Harry and Meghan don't seem to quite get that yet, although it might be sinking in with the new administration. But this has been just an absolutely epic disaster for Harry and Meghan. And you got to think, especially Harry, he's lost his relationship with his entire family basically at this point. So, but it's all of his own doing. So he has nobody to blame in this situation but himself, and I would argue probably his wife as well.
Right now, the royal world is buzzing again, and this time it's because of a shocking revelation from none other than Piers Morgan. The outspoken broadcaster and longtime royal insider has just dropped what he's calling a royal bombshell. According to Piers, King Charles has completely cut off communication with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, not just emotionally, but entirely. He claims there are no phone calls, no emails, no quiet messages through palace aides, absolutely nothing. The bridge, it seems, has been burned to ashes. In Piers Morgan's own words, the relationship between King Charles and the Sussexes is completely shattered. But what does that really mean? And why is this rift deepening now at such a critical time for the royal family? Let's take a closer look. On his show, Piers Morgan didn't hold back. He revealed that King Charles has no intention of reaching out to either Harry or Meghan, not in public, not in private, and certainly not through palace channels. To him, the damage is beyond repair. He described the situation as one of complete breakdown, a royal silence that speaks louder than any statement ever could. Now, it's no secret that Piers Morgan and Meghan Markle have a fiery history. He's been one of her loudest critics since the day she entered royal life. But this time, his words sound less like a rant and more like a warning. There's weight behind them, as if the information came straight from someone inside the palace walls. And when you look at recent royal events, the clues are all there. When Harry returned to London for his father's coronation, he stayed barely 24 hours, just long enough to be seen, but not long enough to reconnect. Meghan skipped the event entirely, citing family reasons, but her absence was louder than her presence ever could have been. Since then, no public acknowledgement, no private visits, and certainly no royal reconciliation. Insiders believe Queen Camilla herself has advised the king to keep his distance, to protect both his health and peace of mind. What do you think? Has King Charles really shut the door for good on Harry and Meghan? Or is this just another storm in the never-ending royal drama? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more breaking royal updates and inside stories you won't hear anywhere else.
And now what's happened, I mean, what's most laughable of all, in a sort of horrible way, is that she's got this new series where she's trying to be the new Martha Stewart, where she's going to be cooking in her fancy mansion for all her fancy friends, very fancy food. Can you imagine a less appropriate thing in California right now than this fake princess, this duchess trading off the title she got given by an institution she's tried to ruin, actually prancing about in this kitchen in a multi-million-dollar mansion with her famous friends in California, when 12 to 14,000 people have just lost their homes in the most horrendous fires that the city's ever had in Los Angeles and that the state's ever seen. It is so unbelievably inappropriate that that series could go ahead, but I bet it does.
Yeah, they're saying it's actually going to pick up in March now as opposed to the January launch date.
With Love, Meghan, because even since the announcement was made, my goodness, it has completely changed the whole environment.
Oh yeah, and I mean the whole downhill spiral just in this month, Dan, has been insane to witness. I don't think I've ever seen two people crash and burn so hard as Harry and Meghan in just a span of less than 31 days. But I think this whole series is going to fail, not just because of obviously the premise and it being post the fires, because you can't really predict a natural disaster like that. But I think the true problem Meghan has always had is that she's not authentic. And really, in this modern environment, authenticity is what sells. And I think her prancing around in this multi-million-dollar kitchen and this multi-million-dollar house and everything, and claiming to show people that it doesn't have to be about perfection or whatever, I just don't think anybody's going to buy it, because she always seems, at least to me, I've always read her as very contrived, very much wanting to portray what she thinks is perfect perfect in that particular moment. Usually her instincts are wrong in that scenario. But I think that's going to be a huge challenge for this series. Not only dealing with the fires and so many people out of their homes, but I think the indulgence of wealth that I feel like will come through this, the pretentiousness and all these things. I think everybody's just going to take 2 looks at this show and go, no. But what are they going to do? They desperately need content in order to still get some of that pot they have from Netflix for whatever they're going to produce. But they get it wrong every single time. And so it's just going to be another epic train wreck for the 2 of them. And yeah, I mean, again, they only have themselves to blame here. There's a million different directions they could have taken this, but I think she chose probably the worst route possible.
But not according to Meghan, Brittany, because according to Meghan,
Never
we're meant to
Meghan.
feel sorry for her. Great reporting from Radar Online revealing that she's gone into hermit mode as a result of the way that she's been slammed. And a source close to Meghan says, in pursuing that goal, she's found herself at the receiving end of harsh treatment. Harry has reassured her of his pride in her actions and advised her to take a step back and not let it get to her. Still, it weighs on them. Rather than retreating from the situation, they opted to journey 2 hours into the heart of the fire zone to volunteer at the World Central Kitchen. Brittany, do they not understand? That was the problem. No one wanted you there. And in fact, it was an emergency situation. So the fact that you traveled for 2 hours into a fire zone, like, that's the issue. That's not the defense. That's the problem. But then this source also went on to say, and Brittany, this is what got me just mad, I guess. This response, talking about Meghan, is exactly what you would anticipate from someone who carries Princess Diana's legacy. Oh, no, she doesn't. William and Catherine carry Diana's legacy, not Harry and Meghan.
Well, I think too, the over-reliance on, contributing or pursuing or whatever Diana's legacy, I think that's a great mistake on their part, because I think Catherine and William are carrying on her legacy by really forging their own path. They're not trying to mimic her. I feel like if you're trying to mimic someone,
so true.
that always never goes well because it's inauthentic. That it goes back to that thing where she can't be authentic. And at least for me, like I actually grew up in Southern California, so I'm familiar with what happens with wildfires and everything. And just the idea that in the middle, when these fires are still going on, that the mayor of a city took city officials away from their duties to parade them through somebody's home that got burned down, as I think it was maybe Justine Bateman that pointed out, is like, there might actually be human remains there.
Exactly.
Are you sure you've
We're not over that.
this?
We're not over that.
Crazy. And so it was just so tone deaf, so ridiculous. And I mean, I blame the city officials too for indulging them to that extent. They are not royalty here. They're just simply royals who live here. That there's a huge difference there. And you see it compared to Donald Trump going and surveying these scenes, because he can actually go, well, I can minimize or eliminate this federal barrier to you rebuilding quickly. I can do this immediately because I'm president. What can the 2 of them do? Seriously, what can the 2 of them do? Nothing.
Just annoy
they
people.
Just annoy people
and distract the authorities and the first responders.
Exactly, from
now, look,
doing real jobs.
You speak about tone, Brittany. I was very fascinated. I think it was Princess Carbuckle on X that I first saw had posted this, but someone has done, and I'm sorry.
Oprah Spare, Netflix. Through these platforms, Harry and Meghan revealed what many inside the palace wished had stayed hidden forever. The royal family's most private and painful secrets. Allegations of racism, neglect, manipulation. Everything came spilling out under the world's spotlight. What had once been whispers behind gilded palace doors became headline news, echoing across continents. In his memoir Spare, Harry went even further. He didn't hold back, criticizing William, Camilla, and even King Charles himself. The prince who once stood smiling beside his family at royal events now seemed to be tearing down the very institution he was born to protect. From Charles's perspective, this wasn't just a family dispute anymore, it was betrayal, a betrayal played out before millions. For a man who spent his entire life defending the dignity of the crown, that crossed a line that may never be forgiven. But there's something most people overlook. Charles's silence is not just emotional distance, it's calculated. The monarchy has always been about control of image, narrative, and history. Every smile, every speech, every silence has meaning. And by saying nothing, Charles might actually be saying everything, because right now, the monarchy is in survival mode. Another scandal, another explosive interview, or another tell-all book could tip the fragile balance between public loyalty and royal reputation. In this climate, silence becomes strategy, the safest move in a game where every word can spark a storm. Behind closed doors, the family may still be torn apart, but in public, Charles sends a single, powerful message. Some wounds may never heal, and the crown must endure, even if the family does not. As the world watches, the royal family walks a fine line between tradition and transformation. Their silence, their statements, their stories, each one shapes the future of the monarchy itself. If you enjoyed this royal deep dive, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon, because the next royal twist might just rewrite everything we thought we knew about the crown.